Alright, so today we're going to be talking about 5 strategy games that I think you should play. I would just like to start off by saying that these games are in no particular order. They're all just games I recommend if you're looking for a strategy game to play. Alright, so let's get started. Endless Legend. Endless Legend is a 4x turn-based fantasy strategy game where you try to expand your empire and take over land, complete faction quests, or eliminate the other empires. In Endless Legend, you have to manage your resources, which are food, industry, dust, science, and influence. The thing I really love about Endless Legend is how in-depth you get to go to customize your empire. You get to have the big choices of what resources your cities will focus on improving, and where each of your armies are going to go, what they're going to do with their time, all the way down to what gear each of your individual units will be using. There are 9 factions to choose from in the base game, and 10 if you purchase the DLC, and all of them have interesting aspects to them, like for example, the Broken Lords do not produce food, but instead create other members of their population using dust. And the Cultists cannot build new empires, instead they only take over already existing ones. Every faction has a unique twist like this, and if none of them stand out to you, the game also gives you the option of creating your own faction, which I think is really cool. The thing I want you to keep in mind with Endless Legend though is that matches can take a really long time to complete, so if you decide to get into it, be prepared to dedicate some time to it. Also, I think it's best played with friends. It's a fun game on your own still, but it's way more fun if you have real player competition. So if you like turn-based strategy games, I highly recommend Endless Legend. Valkyrie Chronicles. Valkyrie Chronicles is a turn-based third-person shooter strategy game. That's a mouthful. A turn-based third-person shooter strategy game. Now you can argue that Valkyrie Chronicles is an RPG, but in my experience, strategy trumped all while playing through this game, so let's just call it a strategy RPG. In Valkyrie Chronicles, you will enlist an army and control all the units in the battlefield in a variety of missions, between choosing which units you want to use, and there are a lot of choices, and where to place them, and then how to move them all on the battlefield. A lot of thinking goes into this game, and it is a hard game, but when you beat a mission, there's nothing that beats that rewarding feeling. There are 6 roles a character can be a part of. Scouts, which aren't particularly strong, but are able to move far into the battlefield to see everything that is going on. Tank Commander, which drives the tank. Tanks are almost indestructible unless you get an anti-tanking unit to attack it, or the enemy hits your weak spot. Shock Troopers, which are stronger than a scout, but can't move as much. Lancers, who are your anti-tank units. Snipers, which, well, they snipe. And Engineers, who are your dedicated healers. If this game looks interesting to you, I definitely recommend you check it out. It's only $20 on Steam and comes with all the DLC. You also could find it on PS3 for pretty cheap. Disgaea. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Disgaea, but if you're in the mood for a more lighthearted strategy RPG, this is a good choice. It's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, by having quirky characters, weird and often funny storylines, but even in its lighthearted nature, there is a lot of game to play with Disgaea. After you're done with the story, there are a ton of post-game missions as well as the item world, which is an ever-changing dungeon that's randomized, so you always have new maps to play and strategize on. You're able to fully customize your team, pick which classes you want to use and which skills you want your party to have, and even choose their color and their voice. Disgaea is able to remain quirky even within its surprisingly deep gameplay, allowing things such as stacking all of your characters on top of one another and attacking as a giant tower. It's also the first game I have seen where the max level is 9,999. If a fun, lighthearted storyline combined with deep and imaginative gameplay sounds like something you're interested in, check out any of the 6 main series Disgaea games, but my personal favorite is 4. Divinity, Dragon Commander. There are 3 parts to the gameplay of Divinity Dragon Commander. The first part is the political side of the game, where you spend your time talking to the NPCs and making political decisions. During this time, players can research abilities, influence the other factions, and receive cards that can be traded for special effects during the next 2 phases of the game. The next part plays like other 4X strategy games where you will command your units on a board, construct territories, and recruit units. This is the part of the game where the cards you earned previously can give you special abilities like increasing your moves, weakening enemy units, and loads of other effects. The third part of the game takes place once you're a part of a battle. This part works like a real-time strategy game where you will control your units in a standard point-and-click style, but you're also able to take control of a dragon, which is pretty awesome. So if multiple layers of strategy sound fun to you, I recommend checking out Divinity Dragon Commander. Fire Emblem Fates. This is another game that I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, but I still want to put it on this list because I'm loving this game so far. Fire Emblem Fates is a turn-based strategy game that has a lot of elements I love, like permadeath for example. Well, permadeath is optional, but I do recommend it. It adds a new level of strategy with you trying to make sure no one dies, but the casual mode is there if you're not a fan of permadeath, so you can play it how you like. Fire Emblem Fates has two different versions. There's the Birthright version, which allows you to do things like grind for XP and just makes units more readily available. It's definitely the easier version between the two. There's also the Conquest version, which you do not have the ability to grind, and the levels and enemies are just harder in general. Each game offers a unique side of the story, as well as having different missions and different characters to join your party, which makes each game a completely unique experience. Its story is pretty decent, but the best part, I think, is really just the gameplay. Oh yeah, and it's also Shipping Simulator 2016.
We're a real family now. I promise to be a great wife. I love you more than anything ever.
I've never felt this way before. My heart is beating so fast. I'm yours forever.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see any other videos of this kind. Like, let me know what genres you want me to make it about, and I'll do it again. If you like this video, please be sure to check out my other videos. Just click the annotations below and check them out. Thanks guys. Also, like and subscribe.